very much, Godfrey. Of course, I'm very excited about this next segment because I remember them very well. It was 7 years ago when they took a little less than $4,000 or a little less than $5,000 to buy a machine, and today they call themselves a group of companies dealing with road striping and maintenance, airport maintenance, safety management, and pavement maintenance. Bahamas Striping is in the house. We have the managing director, Mr. Dr. Alan Albury, and of course the president himself, Ontario Mitchell, joining us. Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here with you.
Yeah, you guys are looking good, man. All over the world, apparently. So you guys are making news over in the UK with a Sustainable Business magazine, an award, I believe it was. Tell us a little bit more about this. And how did you get on the cover of this magazine?
Well, Philip, this is our second time being in the magazine.
Okay.
It's actually, we are the first Bahamians in the magazine. And what we're so proud of now is the fact that we actually secured the cover of the magazine. And I think this will definitely set us apart and put us into a different environment in the UK.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, so literally, I mean, you say it's the second time. So what's the genesis of this? And does that mean that you're now going to be doing global business?
Well, the whole idea is that from the inception of the company has always seen itself as a big business, even though we were a small home-based business. The unique thing about this Sustainable Business magazine is, one, it is based out of the UK. It's all over Europe. Distributed to millions of persons, print and digital copies. And essentially what they do is they look at companies around the globe for their economic sustainability, their environmental sustainability, and their social sustainability. And they identified us. And that speaks volumes to the fact that there must be some things that we are doing right. And it's really rewarding to be recognized by persons outside of the country, especially with a prestigious magazine such as this.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a far ways away, and it's good that you're taking the name Bahamas Striping and Bahamas with you. But even closer to home, you guys just recently, I believe, did some work in the Turks and Caicos. This probably would have been post the latest hurricane. Is this a new trend and moving throughout the Caribbean? What did you do in the Turks?
Yeah, definitely. Ever since we got started as a company, we always had our eyes set on the Caribbean market. And just earlier this year, we completed our first job outside of the Bahamas, which is in Turks and Caicos, where we did, I think, just under 5 miles of road markings. And it definitely, I think, take us one step further in achieving our ultimate goal of not just being a Bahamas-based company, but a Caribbean-based company as well.
Yeah, I think last time you were here, or maybe you guys in the media so often, but we talked about coal patch repairs and road rejuvenation. Was this something that was about to happen, or is that something that you're doing right now?
That's something that we're doing right now. The rejuvenation, which is a very unique product, is certainly designed to add longevity to the asphalt pavements. It's a 3-in-1 sealer, but it's unlike a slurry sealer. It actually penetrates the asphalt and becomes an integral part of it, and thereby extending the life for 7 to 10 years. And this applies to roads, it applies to parking lots, runways, taxiways, aprons at airports. And so it's a multifaceted type of product. And then the cold patch, which is an asphalt that literally comes in a bag. And why is it so important to the Bahamas and the Caribbean is because in many of these territories and many of our family islands, there are no hot mix asphalt plants. And so for the maintenance and upkeep of the road networks, etc., the cold patch is definitely the way to go. We're really excited because come 2018, we're looking at establishing the manufacturing arm of the company, where we'll actually be producing the cold patch mix in the Bahamas for local and international distribution.
It's interesting. So when you started out as Bahamas Striping, or you started out as Bahamas Striping group of companies? And the reason I asked the question is because you've been a proponent, of course, of solar energy projects with clients for a very long time. Is this something that you're moving into next? I mean, what's next on the horizon for the group of companies?
Well, on the rise, like Alan mentioned, coal patch plant.
Okay.
But recently we started the company called the Investment Group, where we set aside $1 million to help pretty much the same process as the Self-Starter Program and the Venture Fund to help persons who want to get started in business or who have an existing business but just need access to capital. We started that I think in August. But what we decided to do was to take it one step further by not just giving funding, but by also giving expertise such as marketing, legal, and accounting advice.
It's interesting. I mean, you know, you would say that you're in the construction industry, of course, and there have been challenging times recently. I mean, when you started, you know, it was right around, I think, at the conclusion of, well, of the economic recession, and it's been a challenging 7 years, but it's also been rewarding. I mean, where do you see the company right now in terms of your growth, and where do you see the overall economy based on where you stand within the construction industry at the forefront, usually, of developments?
Well, I think as a company, we've always set our goals very, very high. And so irrespective of the environment, we've always looked at two things. One, how do we innovate in that environment? And two, how quickly can we adapt to the environment? And I think as a company, we've been somewhat successful in doing so. And as a result of that, we continue to see the kind of growth trajectory that we have been experiencing.
You know, Tario, unlike Alan and I, you must be 30 by now, but you talk about the investment group. You know, you've stayed pretty close to your roots in the fact that you see youth entrepreneurship as really a driver, you know, within our economy. What makes it such an interesting pursuit for you to kind of stay within? You talk about the investment group and targeting young entrepreneurs. You know, why is Bahamas Striping involved with that?
Well, it's a way of giving back for one, and it's more so, like I say, me being a person who went through the process of the self-starter and the venture fund. I would say I learned and understood the pitfall, or at least what I thought was the pitfalls. And one of the things that we wanted to do with so differently is the fact of not just giving cash, but also giving advice. And I think that's more the meaningful part for me, is to help and bring up more people to share in the success that my group of companies has had over the years.
Alan, I'm going to kind of ask you the same question, because you've been with him from the very beginning, eh? And you guys have really put a solid board of directors around it. What do you see as being probably the most critical factors that contribute to the success of the company?
I think first and foremost, one, we don't compete against ourselves. We compete at a global level. And I think that was one of the most critical components for us, the way we saw ourselves. And two, the importance of training and exposure. And thirdly, I would say, you know, looking towards cutting edge technology, products and methodologies. And I think it's important for any local business, any entrepreneur coming into the space, to take a look at how they're going to go about dominating that space. I mean, the whole idea of business is to generate a profit and be successful, but at the same time, you want to be a good corporate citizen, you want to be socially responsible, and you want to be environmentally friendly. And I think that we've embodied those elements into the organization, and we've seen the success from them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tari, we're going to close with you and ask you a simple question. I mean, what advice do you give to young Bahamians out there who have a dream, who've got an idea of where they want to be in life, especially the young men?
Well, what I would say is definitely stay focused. Also understand the process. No one becomes successful overnight. There's a process to it, and you have to be determined. You have to work hard at it, and don't give up. Don't take no for an answer, and also keep pursuing your dreams.
Absolutely. There you have it. Tario Mitchell, president of the Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, and also Dr. Alan Albury, the managing director, letting you know that hard work does pay off. Congratulations once again, gentlemen.
Good. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.